this is Virginia Proffitt, and Virginia is from the Vietnam Homeless Project. She and her husband Jimmy have been feeding the homeless in the streets of Chicago every Sunday for 22 years now. I've got it right, 22 years, every Sunday. And Jimmy is a Marine. He had another meeting tonight, so he couldn't be here tonight.
He's a Marine Corps Marine.
He's right.
That came out important.
But I'm going to turn this over to Virginia and let her talk about the Vietnam Homeless Project. As I mentioned earlier in the class, our last class had several members go down with Virginia on Sundays to feed the homeless, and about 40% of the homeless in the streets of Chicago are veterans. So I will let you speak.
Okay. I'm Virginia, a Marine Corps brat that married a Marine. Her brother became a Marine. Brother-in-law became a Marine. My poor son-in-law's Army Reserves. But his dad was Army, so let him get away with it. What we've been doing is feeding the homeless. Like I said, there's 40 to 50% are veterans. Jim grew up in Chicago. Anybody familiar with Taylor Street area? Maxwell Street area? That's where he grew up. He wanted to give back to the community where he grew up. So he took 30 sandwiches all by themselves, and a little bit of coffee, and went down to find the homeless. Wait until pitch black, go down there. Of course, in those days, cops thought he was selling drugs, drug dealers thought he was selling on their terror. Since then, we've built it up to such a degree that we have crews of people that help us, schools that help us, churches that help us. We feed over 800, anywhere from 800 to 850 people per Sunday, and most of them are men. And that's because Jim wanted to feed men, because most groups do cater to women and children, and men are last. And that's how we grew from there. And because of their spin-offs with Stand Down, which is a 2-day thing in the summer, 1-day thing in the winter, feeding nothing but veterans in need. It's always done at one of the armories. It's hard to explain. Should I just show? I need a volunteer. That's what I need. Somebody get up here and volunteer right now. Come on up. I'm going to show you what we do.
Am I going to be sorry?
No.
Am I going to be happy?
Come over here.
You're going to be fed.
You're going to be fed. Oops. I should organize this more. What you're going to do, we take 12 of these. Wait a minute. I'm getting you. You got to put juice in each bag. You can go ahead. I'm a little short on chips, but I did bring cookies. You line up 12 bags. You need me to open them. Yeah, this is what we do every Saturday. And when we were doing this ourselves, my kids would do this in my living room. Until about 8 years ago when Vietnam decided to rent us a building in Lombard. So on Saturday, we have a crew of people, and they get each bag, and they will line them up. In each bag will have 1 juice, 2 snacks, until there's 12 in each of these boxes. And there's 42 of these boxes.
Wow.
And they can do it in 35 minutes, by the way. You don't have to do them all. Just do some of them. Oh. Let's get you started here. I should have told her 1 sweet and 1 salty, but that's okay. That's all right. That's all right. I was short on chips. I have to go Friday and get them. All right, that's Saturday's job. Now Sundays. Well, I'm used to a big table. My tablecloths are long.
Oh, I found another chip. I'm sneaking it in here.
Go ahead. All right, get you right here. Now, I brought you gloves.
Oh, good. I was considering.
We brought mustard because it was a little hard for me to grab a small mayonnaise because everything I buy is in gallon size. So I brought you, well, I go to Sam's Club, the restaurant place, Aldi's, Walmart's, you name it. I shop a lot. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking for my knife. It's all done assembly line. We have 2 tables going. You will take bread. You put your mustard on. You have to do it the Marine Corps way. Mayonnaise normally. Because this is the way my husband likes his sandwiches. Piece of cheese, a piece of meat, lettuce, mayonnaise, bread. Every other week we use bologna. And because the guys are getting tired of bologna, we are now slicing the big hams and stuff. So they get that too. Oh, I forgot your spreader. Got your spreader too.
All righty. So cheese first or
mustard first?
Okay.
I did put it in a line for you. So there you go. And I do cheat. I buy pre-chopped lettuce. When you make this many sandwiches, there's 1,100 sandwiches made.
Every week?
Yes. Once in a while, we get a few extra accidentally mixed.
Every week for 22 years.
Except for one Sunday a year, and that's in November, and we go to Washington, D.C. for Veterans Day. Oh, I forgot to tell you on Saturday, see how the cheese is all pulled apart because it comes in big things? So we pull it all apart and get it ready, open up all the bologna and put them in trays. Put the trays in. And I still find mayonnaise on my many blinds at home when we used to have groups of friends that did this in church groups. But because we do it in Lombard now, I can get so many other people in there. And that's why Midwestern Pharmacy comes in, their students come in. It's off their tuition to volunteer. I used to have Driscoll High School, but they closed down. I have a couple of churches.
That's a requirement for graduation. Now you want me to put mustard on these two?
Yep. We don't cheat them.
Carolyn, you didn't know what you were going to get into. I love it. I'm glad to see you got wheat bread.
Well, we get whatever the bread is about the only thing that gets donated. I have a friend that picks it up for me, and sometimes my snacks I get donated. We go to Ace Coffee up in Streamwood on Fridays and pick up whatever the vending machine is. Everything else I buy.
Okay, I need bags or something.
Oh, I do have them. Normally, I just figure we'd cut them to share. There you go. Oh, bag them now. And we don't buy Ziploc bags because it's too hard to put a sandwich in it.
Right.
And then 2 sandwiches per bag. Ooh, I made a mess. You didn't see that. Now, while somebody's doing all this, or the people, we get clothes donated, which are then sorted out in sizes. Like somebody wants a 34 jeans. We have all the 34 pants in here, all the large long sleeve shirts here, all the sweatshirts, on and on. Some years we have nothing. Some weeks. This year, everybody's been so generous. We've had a lot of coats, a lot of clothing, been really great. One of the things we do make too is what we call our t-shirt bag. Now this should be a t-shirt, but it has a collar because I ran out of t-shirts. I'm in need for t-shirts, gently used t-shirts. We take our t-shirt, and somebody gave me gloves, so I got a whole bunch of gloves, pair of socks, and some personal items, like your shampoos and stuff. We put them all in here, roll up our t-shirt, put them in the bag, and then take the bag. So now, I'm just going to bag up this bologna out. Oh, thank you. So everything's piled up into this truck we have, and Dave's going to play the homeless man today. You know the routine. In the meantime, there's coffee and Kool-Aid being made. Yes, sir, what can you? A lunch? Would you like a lunch? Coffee or Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid, Kool-Aid.
Okay, what else you need? You need a bag, you need a pair of pants?
Shoes.
What size?
9.
Okay, let's see. I got a 9.5. Would you think that'd fit?
9.5. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
Excellent.
And that's all done. And you try to do this for over 800 and some guys.
Wow.
And Jim called my husband called me this week. Now we have a couple women with children. So I'm gonna be out this week buying a few things. But this is what we do every week. And anybody's welcome to come to Lombard and pitch in. And along with all that, I'll leave these pictures out in case. That's my husband and son with our boxes in the snow, trying to take things from the building into the truck. They now bought us a truck a few years ago, which fell apart 2 years ago. So friends of ours got together and got the money together and bought us a second truck. So we have that. But alone, just for 1 year, 2011, we made over 56,000 sandwiches. I have a sheet of that. We have one of our guys called Merlin. We call him the mayor of Maxwell Street, because on Maxwell Street, he would make sure he took care of every homeless person who was there. He would miss his lunch just to give to somebody else. He has now gotten into a senior home, so he's fine. These are a couple articles. This article, this one came up. We didn't know about it until I got a phone call. You're in the Tribune magazine. So somebody put this one a few years ago. I couldn't even tell you. Oh, February '09. Of course, they gave the age of a few people. But this is down in Lower Wacker. We do still take care of Lower Wacker. There's not as many when he started, but there is a few. You can go online and find any of this stuff. But I'm going to give all this to Janet. She can make copies. We do have a little web page that gives all the information and the phone number and where we're at.
Our last class took up a collection.
Oh, it was
and
great.
It was great. Yeah, there were barrels posted around College of DuPage, and we collected a lot of clothing for Vietnam.
What I wanted to get into was, my husband hates publicity. But 2 years ago, he finally let a New York Times reporter go down. It took him 2 weeks. On the second week, he went down. One of our Korea vets died, homeless vets. When they die in Chicago, they're put in the morgue. Well, we finally were able to find he had no family. Well, we did not want him buried in Porter's Field, whatever it is? Pottersfield. We did not want that. Thanks to friends and stuff, got a hold of a funeral home on Archer Avenue that paid for the funeral, the casket and everything. Took almost 2 months from the time he died to get him buried at Lincoln Cemetery there in Joliet, because all veterans and wives can be buried there, as long as they have their DD 214, with no charge with that. So we went to the funeral home. We were surprised that some neighbors of the funeral home were there. Give honors. It was a real surprise. There was 5 cars going to the funeral. Got caught in traffic. Show up and there's 35 cars in line and bikers. We go, okay, what's this for another funeral, right? Didn't know what it was for Howard that died. Since then, this little article that was written out about him. Since then, we have discovered when there's a homeless veteran out there or no family, someone that's alone, they're buried, their body or ashes taken to Lincoln and just buried without honors. This is something we found out about, and since then, Jim and Jack act as family members, and they go to the funerals, and then their honors. In fact, last Thursday, there was 2 homeless vets that were from the bit in Chicago. All those bodies have been left there. You all know the story, right? Well, there have been quite a few. And I don't have the picture here, but this time, my daughter Jeanette was there with my 4-year-old granddaughter, and they represented the families. And we represented the flags, which is given back, and the little shot, the empty shells that they give to the family. But you'll love this one. Mika, who's 4, got the gun, got the shells. A couple minutes later, she goes, okay, where's my gun? She really wanted to have a gun to go with it. Then she wants to take these shells to school. They didn't go over too well. But this is what these pictures are, some of the summer ones of the veterans and the different groups. We are so surprised at the groups that show up at these funerals now. And quarterly, Lincoln does do the ones that we missed or have. In fact, they're having one, I want to say March 12th, a Monday. If you need the details, let me know. I'll let you know.
Okay.
I have it on my calendar. And then these pictures, which I'll leave with Janet too, are all, we were talking about the stand down with all the veterans. These are.
Could you explain what stand down is? I don't think this group knows what stand down is.
You probably remember what a stand down, it's a term more or less R&R. It's rest. The guys are able, the originally was set up, they're coming in from the field so they can get rest, food, clean clothes, all this. Rest for a while, then go back out. And that's, I think it was San Francisco that started quite a few years ago. Started stand downs, and it's gone nationwide. And Chicago is, like I said, has 2 of them a year. And because of it, there's so many, it doesn't mean they have to be homeless, just in need. There's the Lions Club with the glasses. I can't remember all the different groups. I'm just in charge of all the food. That's all I know what I'm doing. And you're feeding with, I think it was 725 vets and 20 volunteers in June last year. I do miss the winter one because it's the time when we're in Washington, D.C., so I don't go to that one. But I do the other 2, which would be again this June at the Armory. I think it's going to be on the north side this time. Oh, I can't think of that one. But
don't know the details of the stand down.
Yeah,
Virginia, if this class wanted to volunteer for the Vietnam Homeless Project, and you can do this for your class project, for interviewing a veteran, which is what many people did for the last class.
Yeah, because most of our volunteers
tell them your
truck are
correct current phone number.
My correct one? It is the one I've always had. I just got tired of paying the house bill. It is actually 630-209-7242. If you want more info, our webpage, Chicago Sandwich Run, all one word, chicagosandwichrun.org. It's got the address, the phone number, all the statistics in it. That's the easiest way. You can call me anytime. It's my cell phone. We do the sandwich makings in Lombard at 12 noon on Saturday and Sunday. Anybody's welcome to come. And if you do need to do interviews, like I said, most of the guys that go downtown are vets. Quite a few Marines. But we'll let the Army and Navy get in there too.
And the Air Force occasionally.
Yeah, so we let them get away with it. And plus, I am part of DuPage's probation site. So if you have to do community service for whatever reason, you may be shipped to me. Or you can volunteer and ask. It depends on the situation. That's how a lot of our volunteers are probation type people now, plus our friends. And because of it, and one more goodie, is there is a place now called the Fort 2, Jim Proffitt Apartments. This happened a year ago, December. Featherfish is a group that helps the homeless, tries to get them off the streets into temporary housing until they can get on their own. Melanie, who's the Army, been doing it as long as we have. Used to meet Jim downtown, used to get people off the streets. She built the place called Fort 1, which is about 20 homeless people, mixed women and men. They're there up to 2 years, get their life back together. They help them get into their own place. Well, she decided she ever got a second place, she would name after my husband, and it's called the Fort 2 Jim Proffitt Apartments. It's nothing but veterans. And in the year since, it's been 2 years. Maybe it's been 2 years. I forget. It's December. There has been 110 veterans that have completed the cycle, that have gotten there. Some of them are only there 6 months. have gotten themselves back together on their life. There is 10 that never made it through the whole system and had to go back all over again. But as a result, these guys have gotten their life back together, and so it's a good
Virginia,
thing.
do you have counselors there or case managers?
They have a lot of everything. I don't know if they don't do it there, they send them to Jesse Brown.
Okay.
I call it West Side still. That type of thing, yeah. And there's all types of groups that come in and out of there. That's another thing. I know most of you live out here, and that's on the south side of Chicago, but it's something you might be interested into, going there and talking to them. If you ever want that info, just call me, and I'll give you a hold of who to talk to.
You know, again, College of DuPage is looking for internship sites with, you know, the idea for the Veterans Counseling Certificate Program to have 3 hours spent at a site. So I don't know whether that would be a possibility for you.
Which could be, you know, it's just the fact that it's on the south side of Chicago.
It's on the south side of Chicago.
I just don't know how if people are interested.
What's the address there?
7254 South Blackstone. Even though it was originally made for 32 beds, it's now 55 beds in this place. And once a month, they happen to send me a wish list. The guys don't all ask for things, but some of them do. And a group of us get together and do what we can. You know, some of it we can never fill, like computers. But, you know, hats, gloves, underwear, you know, long underwear, things like that. So, any questions? Any volunteers on a Sunday?
People are thinking about it. Do you have a video that you could show?
I do have that if you want to show it. It's
Sure.
right there. This was made by a Northwestern University student. Part of her thing she had to do was made several years ago. And in fact, her and her group came several times, and they did this, and we thought it was pretty amazing. We never saw the finished result until a year later, because somehow it was sent to us and we never received it. But it was out there on the internet. And the funny thing is, we received it right after one of the guys in it had died. In fact, there's 3 of them that are in it that were volunteers that have died.
Vietnam veteran Jimmy Proffitt started homeless sandwich runs 17 years ago out of the back of his brown Mercury Marquis with 30 sandwiches and a small pot of coffee, with the idea of giving back to those on the street. Today, Proffitt and his crew of volunteers feed over 800 people every single Sunday and go to some of the worst parts of Chicago to hand-deliver food and bring a small dose of dignity and hope to thousands of homeless people, many of whom are veterans.
We go all over the world telling everybody what they're supposed to do, but we don't look in our own backyard.
A couple winters before I got off the street, saved my life with coats and, you know what I'm saying, the blankets and things like that. It's really a blessing. And to give you prayer. Sometimes you slide your $1 or $2.
Makes me happy. It makes me feel like I'm giving back and helping others, you know, to have a better day, you know, even if it's for one day.
All right, get ready. Next stop. Let's go.
One of the reasons Jim does this, and the article's in here somewhere, one time he was down there, and it was one of these times that Jim didn't think he could do it. He didn't know if he was keeping his job. I remember I had 4 small kids at home at the time, things like that. And one little white guy came up to him, because most of the guys are black, but one little white guy came up to him and says, "Here, this is for you." He gave him his church envelope. And Jim puts it in his pocket and ignores it. And hours later, he looks at it, and it's 8 cents in this little envelope. And he said, "What am I going to do with 8 cents?" Then I got to thinking, that's all this man had, because that's what he said. "I don't have anything, this is all I have." He gave him 8 cents. And since to this day, he's still on the streets. He's in a flop house. And now we'll get envelopes with $2 or $3, and he'll put on it, "Thank you." He'll say where he got it from, the whole works. But that's what keeps him going, to do all this. And, you know, there's been ups and downs and all. Like last week, I said, "I'm quitting. I'm never doing this again." You know, we do get frustrated. It gets tiring, because no matter what we do, we got to make sure we're back in time, things like that. But we're always looking for fresh help. So anybody who wants to do anything or any of that, just let me know. We start sandwiches at 12. That truck leaves at 1:45. Doesn't get back until 9:30 at night, because he's done a 9-mile radius around Chicago. And one of the stops, I should explain, is Pacific Gardens Mission. Anybody ever heard of it? And they have, used to be, the original was 112 years old building. Now they moved to a newer site. And because we cannot feed everybody there, we take in so many of our boxes, and they heat up food from restaurants, and we must serve it. They have fed 2 and 3 extra 100 people that way in a night, on a cold night. But it's you know, it's a long day. It really is.
Your heart really goes out to these people that are living on the streets.
Yeah, just let me know, you know.
Yeah, sounds like we've got some interest here. Other questions for Virginia, comments that you want to make?
Yeah, but you're more than interested. If you need to interview somebody, just let me know. Or even if it's some of the veterans that are homeless. I don't know when you have to be done with this class.
Of May, I think. May 15th. We've got
Well, you
time.
talk to my husband about that. I'm sure he can arrange something, because each stop he's only there for a short time. But like at Pacific Gardens Mission, he's there longer. And some guys they'll love to talk to you. And other ones, you know, it's. I don't mind doing the whole circuit. Yeah, just let me know when you want to do it, and we'll arrange it. I just need to know ahead of time.
Sure. Good. Thank you so much. Thank you, Virginia.
Okay. Thank you.
And thank you, Don.